We've got about 5 minutes, so I thought what I would do is just talk to you a little bit about the Toltec mythology, because in the end, when we start to look at the Four Agreements, the question comes, well, where did the Four Agreements come from? And of course, the Four Agreements came from Miguel Ruiz. He created them, and Miguel he's a Toltec teacher, or what's called a Nawal. And I will just say this about finding a true teacher. If in a lifetime you can find a true teacher, that is the ultimate blessing. Because there's not many of them walking around. I mean, there are a lot of teachers, but there aren't a lot of what I would call true teachers walking around. And so to have spent 8 years with Miguel and to have become his friend, and he still is our friend, I just feel like that was something that, I don't know why, I don't know how it all happened, but somehow I just feel so blessed to have had that relationship and to have that ongoing relationship. So I just want to take you back a little bit to the Toltec mythology. The term Toltec, normally when someone thinks of Toltec, they think in terms of maybe like a tribe. You know, maybe it was like the Aztecs, or maybe it was like you know, the Maya, or maybe it was like that. But it really wasn't. Toltec means person of knowledge, and it was really a group of seekers. They were engineers and teachers and professionals, and you know, they were people that wanted to learn more about themselves. They were asking questions like, who am I? And why am I here? Those types of questions. So the Toltec built a place where they could practice. And the place they built is called Teotihuacan. And those are the pyramids northeast of Mexico City. And so if you go on my website, you'll see, I mean, we take journeys to Teotihuacan, and we actually take people through the process by which the Toltecs, the same process that they followed in what turned out to be a journey to enlightenment. So at Teotihuacan, they would start wherever they started, and normally they started just like you and me, right here, and you know, they didn't know exactly where they were going or what they were doing. They knew that life had to be more than what it appeared to be, and they started, and sometimes for decades, they would work their way through the various parts of Teotihuacan, and at some point, when they had reached a point of enlightenment, they had a choice of whether to stay or go. And if they elected to go, they in essence would leave, or they could stay and they could teach. And some left and some stayed. And of course the ones that stayed, they became very, very powerful spiritual teachers, and who knows how they taught. Some of them wandered in the wilderness, and who knows what, maybe some of them became powerful leaders. I mean, it could be anything, because there's no rule about how the teachings go out into the world. The Toltec knowledge was called the silent knowledge, and it was passed down, it was an oral tradition, and it was passed down from generation to generation. And so if you can imagine, starting about 4,000 years ago and working its way forward, and at one point the Toltecs were being persecuted for their beliefs, and they ended up abandoning Teotihuacan, and they buried it. Now, if you've ever seen the pyramids down there, actually the Pyramid of the Sun has approximately the same mass as the Great Pyramid of Giza. So it's a huge pyramid. Imagine that being buried. So they buried the whole place, and you know, there were these hills out there for a long time, and then somebody, you know, stumbled over a rock or something, and I wonder what that was, and started digging. And of course now they have uncovered, they still don't know what all is there, because there's still much more actually to be uncovered. But this tradition was passed down, and it was passed down from teacher to teacher. Teachers were called Nawals, and these were people that could then pass on the teachings to the next group of students who were coming through. And eventually, many of these traditions were passed on. People would have to go through their challenges, and they were very scary, many of these challenges. And then it got to Miguel Ruiz, and Miguel, where a lot of these other teachings have been taught through fear, he was told that he now needed to shift that, and it now needed to be taught through love. And this was a huge shift, because if you've ever read the stories of Don Juan and that sort of thing, there were many things that happened that, you know, would be scary. But now Miguel came and said, no, that's not necessary anymore, and that we will now teach the silent knowledge through love. And so it was a whole different way of doing it, and it was also a way that opened it up. It opened it up to many more people. And we are now entering, this is part of the mythology, we are entering a time when this knowledge, along with many other bodies of knowledge, which are in the end very much the same, are now going to be going out to many, many more people. It's a very special time to be here and to be able to participate, particularly to be able to teach, because there are many that are going to be coming to learn, whereas before it was actually very small numbers. So in looking at the 4 agreements, Miguel said, well, these are things, if we just try to follow the 4 agreements, very, very simple, then life will begin to work in a spectacular way. So you think about things as simple as be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. I mean, how simple is that?